Hey everyone, it's Michelle Caruana, and this video is a little bit different than the content that I normally share on this channel. And I'm sharing it because I've been talking a lot about Facebook pixels and retargeting ads and things like that on both my Marketing Junkie podcast and my Profitable Play podcast. And one of the biggest things I keep hearing is that the tech is a little bit confusing, and a lot of people are having trouble figuring out how to install it and how to figure out if it's installed correctly. So instead of re-recording this entire tutorial, I'm actually going to share one of my pre-workshop videos from my Facebook ads workshop that I'm currently redoing, completely revamped with 2022 strategies, and I'm making it hyper specific for indoor playground owners. So stay tuned for my brand new Facebook ads course that's going to be released next month in February 2022. Again, Facebook ads just for indoor playground owners. But in this quick tutorial, I'm going to reiterate what a pixel is and exactly how you can install it and make sure it's installed correctly. So if you need any links to my podcast or any other additional Facebook ad resources, I will link those below this video. But without further ado, let's get that Facebook pixel installed. In this lesson, we are going to talk all about the Facebook pixel and how you can use it to better your ads. Now, a lot of people get confused or hung up here, but I promise you it is not nearly as complicated as a lot of people make it seem. So let's break it down. First, what is a Facebook pixel? A Facebook pixel is an analytics tool that really just consists of a few lines of code that you can put onto your website for tracking purposes. So again, the pixel is just a few lines of code from Facebook that you copy into the header section of your website. Or if you use a website like Kajabi or something like that, you can just connect it once and it's applied to all of your pages. If you're using something like Squarespace, you may need to put it you can put it universally into the header section of your entire site, or you can add it to specific landing pages. It's up to you. But depending on your website platform, it could be a little bit different where you put the actual lines of code. But more often than not, you're just going to copy and paste the code into the header of your website. This data and tracking information allows you to retarget people that visit your website with Facebook ads in the future, as well as give you information about what people are doing on your site and when they return. The Facebook Pixel is an extremely valuable tool to help you make your Facebook ads even more relevant to your audience and increase conversions. So a lot of people say, okay, great. So my Facebook pixel tracks my Facebook traffic or my social media traffic. But actually, your Facebook pixel, once it's installed on your website, can track any user that comes to your website, whether they type it into their search bar, whether they Google you and find you. Any visitor that arrives on your website, wherever a pixel is installed, is now available to you as a custom audience member to use as a retargeting option in the future. So you can retarget any of your website visitors regardless of where they came from, as long as they visited in the last 180 days at a maximum, or whenever you installed your pixel, that is the start date. And you can now retarget them in the future. They do not have to just come from Facebook or social media. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, well, what if I'm installing it today? Well, I mentioned in the previous slide that 180 days is currently in late 2020, the maximum window that you can look back on your website visitors. But installing your Facebook pixel does not allow you to retroactively track your website visitors. So if you're installing your pixel today, you won't be able to look back 180 days. You will be able to start as soon as you hit save on that pixel and make sure that it's working correctly. So the key takeaway that I want you to get from this tutorial and lesson is to install your pixel today, because every single day you do not do this is another day of website traffic that you are not able to capture, you are not able to retarget in the future. This isn't saying that you have to set up retargeting ads today. That is absolutely not the case. But if you just do one thing from this getting started section, I would highly recommend installing your Facebook pixel, because when you are ready to run ads, these audiences will be available to you to target. And if you wait until you're ready to start ads, that's going to really limit your options in terms of targeting. All right, to sum it up, the main purpose of a Facebook pixel is to retarget your current website traffic and create additional custom audience. Audiences. So custom audiences we're going to get into in a different lesson, but basically a custom audience is something that you own. Either it's your website visitors, either it's your email list, it's purchasers and things like that. Now, a lot of people will use all website traffic as a custom audience. You can also set up a custom audience for specific pages on your website. So for example, if you're using Squarespace and you only want to track people who visited one specific blog article. Let's say you had a blog article on a specific topic that you want to retarget those people with an offer that was specific to that blog topic. You can actually say, Facebook, I want to create a custom audience of just this one landing page and people who visited this landing page. Another good example is when we owned an indoor playground, we had a custom audience set up for our birthday party page. So we were able to then retarget people that visited our birthday party page and then serve them kind of urgency ads saying, hey, did you forget to book your party? Don't forget we book up pretty fast. Go ahead and click here to complete that booking process. So you can set up all sorts of custom audiences based on your different web pages as soon as you set up your Facebook pixel. You can also set up things like, depending on how your website is set up and if it's set up for e-commerce, you can set up things like people who have made purchases on your website, people who have made purchases within a given time span. And 180 days isn't the only time frame you can look at. You can look at 15 days, you can look at 30 days, you can look at 90 days if you want. So you can set up all of these very specific custom audiences, which again, we will get into in a different lesson. But without this foundation, without this Facebook pixel installed, you will not be able to do that. So how do you install a Facebook pixel? I'm going to use Squarespace as an example because that's what we happen to use for our website. It's a lot of what our clients use, and it's one of the more common web platforms. If you do not use a Squarespace site, simply Google, how do I install my Facebook pixel, or look it up in the help section of your website provider. It's a very common request, and chances are you're going to be able to find a really easy tutorial. But let's show you how to do it on Squarespace. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab our pixel code. So you would go to business.facebook.com and select your business account, which we set up in a previous lesson. So that is a prerequisite to this lesson. I'm going to go ahead and select my ad account, and I'm going to go into Events Manager. Now that I'm in Events Manager, it's going to bring up data sources, and I'm going to go ahead and select the correct ad account. We have a bunch of different ad accounts. So I'm going to make sure that I have the correct one selected. And again, that number next to the ad account name is the ad account number, which again, we already went over in a previous lesson. So as you can see, it has all of our events set up. It has page views, purchases, contacts, leads. We have all of those set up. It's a little bit more advanced. We just want to make sure that you get your Facebook pixel installed. So we have a couple different pixels based on all of the different websites we have. So you can either create a new pixel. I can't create a new one because I already have a Facebook pixel created, but you can go ahead and create one there. You can also add events. Now you want to hit add event, and you can either install your code manually, which is what we're going to do, or you can add a partner integration if you use something like Shopify. So I'm going to go ahead and click install code manually, copy code. You can just turn this on. Again, this is a more advanced feature, so just hit continue. And you can launch the event setup tool, but I'm just going to show you how to go ahead and install this code manually. So again, I have that code copied onto my clipboard. So I have the entire code copied, and now I'm going to go into our Squarespace website, and I'm going to do what I mentioned in a previous slide, which is paste that Facebook pixel code into the header of my website. Now, again, you don't need to, if you're using Squarespace, paste it into every single page. You can, when you're setting up your custom audiences, go ahead and set up your custom audiences based on URL in Facebook Ads Manager. You don't have to do it here. So again, I went to advanced, and then I went to code injection. I already have my Facebook pixel installed. So if I didn't, I would just go ahead and hit copy paste, and then I would hit save. Now, something that I like to do is I always like to install the Facebook Pixel Helper. That's a free Chrome extension, and you'll see it all the way up at the right. It's that little Chrome extension that turned blue and lit up that I'm pointing to now. So if you go ahead and install this free Chrome extension, just Google Facebook Pixel Helper. If that lights up and it shows your correct Facebook pixel, that means that your Facebook pixel is installed correctly and it's firing correctly. So if I were to go to this blog and that Chrome extension did not light up and it did not show that there was a Facebook pixel installed, something went wrong, I didn't do it correctly, and I need to kind of go back and make sure I followed all of the steps. All right, so again, I mentioned how to know if you installed it correctly, but as a recap, just go and Google Facebook Pixel Helper, install the free Chrome extension, and that's going to be how you figure out if you followed all the steps correctly. So now what? Now is a time when you can set up your custom audiences, which we're going to talk about in a different lesson. But now you can just kind of rest a little bit easier, knowing that even if you're not ready to create ads today, even if you're not ready to create ads tomorrow, you can rest a little bit easier knowing that your pixel's installed and that you are tracking your website visitors so that you do have them available to retarget in the future. So congratulations on completing this step. This is really, really big. And again, if you did not follow the steps as you were watching this lesson, the one thing that I want you to take away from this entire section of lessons is to install your Facebook pixel. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not wait until the next day. Just get it done now. All right, let's